This chapter opens with a little factoid about the animal kingdom that you might find interesting. Namely, that of all the animals God has created, except for humans because we don't count as animals for some reason, the snake was the biggest smarty pants. And apparently there's a snake in the garden who can speak human. So that's really exciting. He asks the woman which fruit she and the man can eat. So she tells him about the tree of death. Presumably her husband has passed on this information because she was still a rib when God was talking about all of this. And yes, I said husband. They're married now. The book completely skips over the wedding, but yeah, that happened. Anyway, the snake tells her that she's got it all wrong. The fruit from that tree doesn't kill you at all. Quite the opposite actually. If you eat it, you will understand things, know about good and evil, and become like God himself. And apparently, God is kinda insecure or something, because he doesn't want people to know what he knows. And that's why he lied. Again, you might ask why God put this damn tree in the middle of the garden if he dislikes it so much. And you might also ask how the snake got to be so well informed. But neither of these questions are answered. The woman is sold. The fruit looks good and she wants to be wise. So she goes for it. She takes a bite. And then we find out that her husband's actually been standing right next to her this entire time, and he takes a bite as well. Now they understood things. Boy, oh boy, did they understand things. You know what they understood? They understood that they were naked. I shit you not, that's the first thing they understand. So these people really weren't very smart. And one could make a reasonably strong case that 1. They absolutely weren't smart enough to oversee the consequences of their actions. And 2, they actually kind of needed this fruit. Anyway, the nudist era is over. They are no longer into that. And they immediately start sewing fig leaves to turn them into clothes. But before they're finished, God enters the garden. And they're suddenly so embarrassed of their bodies that they actually hide from him. God can't find them. So he just yells. And the man is like, I'm too embarrassed to come out. I'm butt naked. As if God hasn't seen him naked before. But instead of asking him why he's embarrassed, God asks him who told him that he's naked. As if there's no way he could have possibly figured that out on his own. And then God immediately asks him if he has eaten fruit from the forbidden tree. So how does this dude respond? He straight up blames it on his wife. And also a little bit on God. He's like, you put this woman here with me and she gave me the fruit. That's why I ate it. Of course, it's God who created this whole mess by planting a tree in the middle of the garden for no reason, putting 2 people of very limited intelligence to work there, straight up lying to them about the fruit being deadly, and then letting them find out the truth from someone else instead of coming clean on his own. And what is even the real problem anyway? That they're not idiots anymore? This whole situation makes no damn sense. But yeah, the man doesn't call God out on his massive lie, and he doesn't take responsibility for his own decision. He blames it all on his wife. So much for this fruit making people wise. The woman is also not big on taking responsibility because she blames it on the damn snake. She says she ate the fruit because the snake deceived her with a lie. But what the hell is she talking about? The snake told the truth. He may have exaggerated the becoming wise part a little bit, but it was God who lied. Nobody who ate the fruit died. They just gained some IQ points that they clearly needed. Not for 1 second does God reflect on his own actions as the person who instigated this whole thing. He just goes straight to punishing everyone else. He curses the snake, who apparently wasn't crawling on his belly before, but from now on, that's how he has to move. And God also makes a big deal about him having to eat dust from the ground. Kinda makes you wonder what the earthworm ever did to piss off God. And he says that the woman's descendants and the snake's descendants will be enemies forever. So he's punishing both of them in that way. And then he punishes the woman even more. He tells her that he's gonna make giving birth extra painful for her. And he says that from now on, she will want to please her husband, but her husband is gonna rule over her as her master. So free will seems to be completely out the window, and God is acting like a total dick. It's so clear that he's projecting his own issues onto others. Oh, and God wasn't done yet, by the way. He then turns to the man, who is suddenly called Adam, and he punishes him too. He curses the ground so that Adam has to get way better at gardening to grow anything. Adam has to eat crops that grow in the fields and bread, which God apparently sees as a major step down from the fruitarian diet. Oh, and when Adam dies, he's gonna return to dust, because that's where he came from, after all. Then Adam names his wife Eve, which is weird, because normally you learn someone's name before you get married. And she's a grown woman, so you'd expect her to be able to pick her own name. But I don't know, maybe it makes sense. He is the naming guy, after all. After God has punished everyone involved, except for himself, of course, he's like, hey guys, you know what? Maybe clothes aren't such a bad idea after all. But instead of continuing Project Fig Leaves, he does something truly fucked up. He finds some animals who had absolutely nothing to do with this whole situation, kills them for no reason, and then turns their skins into clothes. And then he expects Adam and Eve to wear those skins. Fucking psycho. After that, God is like, okay, you understand good and evil now. Just like me. So now it's really important that you don't eat fruit from that other tree, the tree of life. Because if you do that, you're gonna live forever. And we can't have that. To make sure that doesn't happen, he sends Adam out of the garden. And I assume Eve too, but she doesn't get mentioned. And then, out of nowhere, he gets a bunch of special angels and a moving sword of fire to guard the tree. So, good luck eating that fruit now, Adam.